I'm Father Michael Stala. I am the spiritual advisor for Hope's Garden and Men of Hope. Today I'd like to talk to you about cultural misconceptions around sex. So when we think about sex, there's a lot of things in our media, in our television shows, in our movies, and even in our conversations that has something to do with dominance. It has to do with winning, right? So if a guy is really good at talking to a woman and getting her to go and have sex with him, he thinks of himself as winning something. Like I'm really good at getting women. If a woman has no problem getting a man to go have sex with her, she might think I am clearly valuable and I am, desirable. But of course, all of this means what happens on the opposite. If a woman were to desire a man and he refused her, she would feel like devastated about her self-worth. If a man, which of course happens often, a man approaches a woman and she does not accept this invitation, he might feel like he doesn't bring something to the table, that he's not worth it. He might also feel like an anger and like, I've got to try other tactics. And there begins to be like, okay, we're going to start manipulating each other until I win the prize. The intention around dating was really so that dating would lead into, engagement. You're trying to figure out, who am I, who is this person, and are we compatible? Are we on the same page so that we could start heading toward marriage? That was the intention behind dating. But it's become a little bit of a sport. It becomes a little bit of a conquest. It's all about just momentary fun, not long-lasting relationships. Or even if it is going to be more of a lasting relationship, it is really based on you find me valuable because I won the right to have sex. So what I'm going to try to do is imagine for a second that we redefine that. What if you tried to name what is sex in an idealized way? Well, sex idealized should be an expression of love, of tenderness, of intimacy. It should be a full acceptance of the other person and the full giving of yourself. There's no deception, there's no manipulation. You know me, and I know you, and I give myself as a gift to you. And I do so not seeking just my own pleasure, but for your well-being, so that I can express to you how much I love you. That I care more about what you're experiencing than what I'm getting out of it. Less of a conquest and more of a service. I lay myself down for you. In this idealized setting, of course, the two of them would both enjoy the experience. It would be private. It would be something that only the two share with each other. It is not that they will be unfaithful, that they have committed themselves completely. It should be free of fear. I mean, if you didn't have to worry about pregnancy. Now, some people say, well, there's several ways we could do that. One is we have sex and we don't think about pregnancy. Another is to use some sort of contraception so pregnancy is not on the table. But the church has another idea, to be open to life. Being with a person with whom I could see, I want to commit to you forever. And to build a family together, to be open to what God designs. Now, this understanding of sex, which is full giving to each other, which is a true commitment to each other, which is open to having life, and that is freely given, not manipulated. This, of course, is what Humanae Vitae had envisioned, and sees all other forms as a type of counterfeit. In this, we have built within us roles of the man and the woman. Now, in a lot of things in our society, we talk about basic jobs that we would say a man and a woman can both perform the same duties and do it the same way. Obviously, when we get to a more primitive or earlier stages of civilization, where some of the essential jobs that are still very difficult to do, you might say, well, okay, that's traditionally a man's job. Bricklayers, construction workers, military. Now, you could say there are some roles that women could do very well within that. Certainly in the educational side, the planning, the creating of the teams, the even some of the labor that can be done. But you can see physically, men in general, these are generalizations, men in general tend to be built to do more of the heavy lifting and the sacrifice, the physical sacrifice that's required for a lot of work. Where women, on the other hand, they are physically able to endure a great deal of pain, to be honest, in order to give birth. They have this tendency and this ability to understand, to put our family first priority, and to say, okay, I have to take care of my household first. Where a man sometimes can start to say, these are my different priorities that I'm trying to balance. The woman's going to, no, focus in. This is the first priority. Now, when it comes to certain career choices, you can see, statistically speaking, a lot of women are feeling more called toward healthcare and the care of the sick, of the children, of schooling. These are all nurturing kind of careers. Now, it's not that a woman is better at it than a man, or a man is worse at it than a woman, but they just feel more called to that. It feels more natural to them. Who knows why that is? People say it's a construct of civilization, a hierarchy that males had created. I don't know if any of that is true. I don't know that it's not true. But I do know that, statistically, there is, that men tend to go toward this kind of career, women tend to go toward that kind of career, and there are many careers that they share in union. That being said, in the act of sex, there is a clear distinction. The body is built like puzzle pieces that go together. And so the man clearly has a role, and a woman clearly has a role. And in that role, the man provides, the woman receives. And in the reception of the man becomes a gift for her, a gift that she desires and accepts, that is not forced upon her, a gift that understands her desires and needs. And she, in turn, is a gift in accepting the gift. It's one of those things that I think is very true for men. If you were to ask them, what is very fulfilling for you? I want to have a career, a job, a task that is needed, that is appreciated, that I do well. Put that into sexual terms. I want to provide for the woman what she desires. I want to give to her something that I'm actually good at. I don't want to be bad at this. I want to be good at this. And I want it to be that it was something that fulfilled her needs. God in his wisdom then was able to make life from that. How beautiful. That God showed them how to be a gift for one another in their unique ways, and brought through that into being all other human souls. I try to do a little practice of thinking, what is an ideal woman? Now, there's been a lot of talk about this from the cultural side of things, independent and, self-starter and able to raise the kids and work and doesn't need a man. All of those kind of things are just kind of, to be honest, it's a sad situation. They're making the best out of it they can. But the truth is, what is a good woman like? The kind of woman you would want your son to marry. And you would say, yeah, I want somebody who is nurturing, who appreciates him, who is not selfish, who is not belittling, somebody who is able to take care of that small circle, the family, make that their top priority, to encourage. I'd love, we start to think as somebody that they get each other's sense of humor, they get each other's motivations, and that this woman doesn't feel in competition with the man. Now do the same thing. Switch it around. What's an idealized man? Yeah, it's somebody who's able to provide. Providing isn't always money. I always wish I could be more of a fixer-upper kind of person. When there's something broken, I could fix it. I'm not much of that. But, there is something very much in the masculine way of thinking to say, you can count on me. I can provide something that you need. You think of a man as being strong. He's supposed to be able to tolerate the difficulties of life. And anybody who comes against his family, he's going to stand between them and you. He's the kind of person who doesn't crumble under pressure. Somebody who is ambitious, has some dreams, has some thoughts, has a direction he wants to go. Someone good at communicating that so that we're on the same page and we're not feeling threatened by emotional instability. Somebody who does appreciate his wife, includes her in the thought process, values her input, her wisdom, is humble but confident. As you start to put these attributes together, you start to think, we're talking about a perfect man and woman. That doesn't really exist. There is no such thing as a perfect man and perfect woman. We are all derivations of that. But when it comes to our culture, they have a very deformed, very twisted way of thinking about what a woman should be. Like a man might say a woman is supposed to be attractive. I got news for you. It doesn't take much to be considered attractive. It doesn't. And yet they make it like, no, they have to be supermodel. They have to be like flawless. That's not true. But then why? Because her primary purpose is to then satisfy me, gratify me physically. Of course, that's not true. That's not what you really want. Perhaps that would be what you want if you're not looking for a wife. You're looking for some sort of casual encounter. But that's not holy. That's not good. That's not the deepest desire of your heart. And the same thing for a man. If you think about a man, well, I want a rich man. Well, really, you just want to use his money. Well, I want the kind of man that everybody admires. Yeah, well, then he's always seeking the admiration of others. You begin to say, well, I want a man who's, fit. But we're not always going to be fit. We do get older. So what we end up finding is that the world, the culture, is trying to train us into saying, this is what you're looking for. But it's distorted. It's not totally wrong. We want healthy people. We want attractive people. We want people able to provide for us. We do want people that we're compatible with, yes. But if you distort that too much, you end up saying, I don't even know what I'm looking for. And so, unfortunately, our young are growing up. The men are saying, I'm not really, I have a misunderstanding about what the idealized woman is and what I'm supposed to be. And vice versa. The women are saying, I'm not positive I know what kind of guy I'm looking for or what kind of woman I'm supposed to be. It's been distorted too many times. And then included in that is sex. and the domination and the games that are played, the using of each other. It was St. John of the Cross who says, we are called to love people and use things, not to use people and love things. You can see that's exactly right. And by the way, he's writing this in like the 14th century. This is way back. If that was a problem then, how much more so is that a problem today? So what we're asked to do is to have a more mature approach to who we are looking for, how we date, and what is the role and purpose of sex. And to really start to put on the mind of the church and to put on the heart of Christ to see it in the right way. Otherwise, if you go any other route, it does lead to agony and suffering and pain and just heartache. It really does. And that's what we see all around us. Just look all around you, and you're going to see that everywhere. So what are we really looking for? In essence, we have used marriage since the beginning of time, since before Christianity began to talk about marriage. We've used marriage as a way of channeling our sexual energies. Realizing having multiple partners is not healthy. Women end up having children out of wedlock, okay, because the man is drifting from one woman to another. Or they're ended up staying with the wrong person who was abusive, who was not on the same page, and it's just a disaster, not a good environment for children to be raised in. Or diseases begin to run rampant all over the place. Not to mention what it does to the way we feel about ourselves. Our self-esteem is totally shot. So let's channel that sexual energy, that desirous part of us. And instead of saying it's bad, this is the kind of thing you would say to teenagers. You know, suddenly they're at the prime of their sexual development, and they're like, wow, I'm suddenly aware that there are girls and boys in my classroom, and they're just totally focused on each other. And we say, okay, so calm it down. Don't have sex. Sex is bad. Sex is evil. Desires are evil. That's not exactly true. It is to say your desires are not in order yet. They're out of control right now. So you have to calm it down and get focused. But as we kind of mature and talk about this on a more mature level, we realize, yeah, you know what? Of course you're going to be attracted to people in this world. People are going to walk by you. Unfortunately, advertisers will try to use that to manipulate you to buy their products. But that's okay. The fact that you're attracted to people is okay. We just don't put our energy there. We put our energies to the higher desire of my heart. The attraction is only the beginning. I am looking to develop a family. First as a couple, and then with children. And to develop the dreams together. And to have somebody who helps me make decisions and do the tasks. And I prefer that if I have to live with this person the rest of my life, that I love them. I mean, why wouldn't you want that? And so we channel these desires into marriage. The Christian understanding is, don't just make it about sex, although that is an important part. Make it about being a gift, body and soul, your personhood. Don't just desire the physicalness, the material, the sexual body, or the material purchasing power. Desire the person. And the only way you will ever find a good person is to be a good person. And then you help each other develop into good, holy, the best version of yourself. And become a gift to one another. This is the vision that God has. It is designed within your physical bodies, within your desires, but with some nuances that helps us understand a Christian view of what marriage could be. This is not unattainable. It's just simply something that the world has given up on. Our culture says that's not our goals. But Christ says, yes, it is. We can do better. You can do better. Focus a little bit more clearly on what it is your heart desires. And there you will find the Lord's instructions.